Hundreds of employees at a nuclear reactor in Russia have gone on strike.
SBU
Caught a so-called DNR veteran who tried to escape to Europe posing as a displaced person. A soldier spoke about the practice of forming assault groups in the Pokrovsk direction.
No, we're at the training ground running assault drills.
He confirmed that more than half of the Russian army's losses are due to Ukrainian FPV drones. A fight club Krasnodar style.
Adults are walking around everywhere and no one cares at all.
Footage has appeared from Azovstal in occupied Mariupol. Hello everyone. My name is Yulia Kort and this is the program In Trend. Every day we bring you the latest news, show interesting videos and debunk fakes. A soldier from the Orenburg region, serving in a UAV platoon, spoke about the practice of forming assault groups in the Pokrovsk direction. Well,
Damn, the assaults are just like in the army. Poor guys, you can't look at them without tears. And it's like that everywhere, it's pure assault. Just meat, total meat, really. You know what kind of people they are? Homeless people, drunks. It's just that the cops caught them, forced them, contract and all. It's just honestly a total mess. You know what they call them? Let me tell you, just like I heard today at the supermarket, they're called disposable, meaning basically they're just a distraction. Or they send in 100 of them, they move forward a bit, then the regular troops come in and clear the area.
the Ministry of Defense uses those types first. They go under fire to draw attention away. And if you think that after them there aren't former workers from Russian factories, housing services, drivers, or construction workers left lying in the fields, you're mistaken. Everyone goes into the assault as expendable, just in turn. And by the way, Putin's so-called millionaires, who were promised the world on a silver platter, are forced to buy their own gear and food. Russian war correspondent Kalashnikov spoke out about the crimes committed by the military leadership of the Russian Federation. He believes that the Ministry of Defense continues to use assaults and infantry, destroying thousands of Russian men. This leads to the destruction of dozens of Ukrainian cities. They present this as a victory. Here it is.
So that instead of taking, say, Konstantinovka, Kramatorsk, or Slavyansk with yet another infantry assault, after which these cities would come to you as scorched, smoking, charred ruins filled with people who have either fled or literally become homeless, at the same time losing no fewer than 10,000 men for each city. Remember, in Bakhmut alone, Wagner lost 20,000 men. Remember, Prigozhin said 20,000. But I think Slavyansk Kramatorsk is bigger than Bakhmut. And when I realized that in the West they're watching and studying the experience of the special military operation, and I've read RAND reports, I understand how they're laughing their heads off. Oh my God. And here we were thinking, even after 2007, they still had some doubts, as if the mouse was being revived. So you can't achieve air superiority, you're forced to fight like in World War I.
The former Supreme Allied Commander Europe of NATO, General Christopher Cavoli, confirmed that more than half of the Russian army's losses are due to Ukrainian FPV drones. Thousands of Russian soldiers are dying not from artillery or aviation, but from small video-guided drones that cost hundreds of times less than any tank. Yes,
I have seen this data. I think it's quite difficult for us to be absolutely precise in such assessments since we don't have the ability to be there and count everything ourselves. But undoubtedly we're talking about more than half, and that's truly a large number. A number that keeps growing as the conflict develops.
Ukraine changed the course of the war with technology, while the Russian command littered Ukrainian fields and forest belts with the bodies of its own citizens. And then they stole the tactic and started mass-producing their own so-called unparalleled FPV drones. Of course, not without China's help. Xi still hides the fact that he is helping Putin, while Putin pays with Russia's resources. Prisoners pardoned by Putin tortured a young man to death. During a feast, the ex-convicts who had returned from the war in Ukraine thought this guy had supposedly stolen a phone. So they started beating him, strangling him with a rope, and committing other horrors. They dumped the unconscious young man next to a dumpster. That's where he died. This is
The deliberate and intentional infliction of harm or injury on my son, the danger of which, especially to life itself, is quite obvious and apparent to anyone.
The woman believes that the process is being deliberately delayed, and the killers are already trying to escape punishment by signing another contract to go to war. These are the new so-called exploits of Putin's so-called elite. Torture and murder are becoming the norm in Russia because these heroes face no consequences. Even children are starting to follow their example. The Fight Club Krasnodar style. In one of Krasnodar's districts, children of participants in the war against Ukraine have formed their own teenage gang, which terrorizes the neighborhood. Here.
Look, parents are right now outside our house. And I'm already afraid to even go outside.
According to an eyewitness, the gang is led, believe it or not, by a 14-year-old girl named Liza. A new generation is growing up. Well, let me think for just a little moment. What did you expect? Russia is a country where the future is built on banditry, murder, and war propaganda. How do you feel about children playing such adult games? Write your thoughts in the comments. 2 participants in Putin's special military operation killed Russian crypto businessman Roman Novak and his wife in the United Arab Emirates, burying their bodies in the desert. When talking to investors, he called himself a friend of Pavel Durov and the deputy vice president of Telegram, Ilya Perekovsky. He claimed to be friends with Arab sheikhs. In the end, he managed to attract $500 million in investments. Novak and his wife stopped communicating about a month ago. The militants kidnapped Novak and his wife in order to demand a ransom, but when they didn't find the required amount, they killed the couple. They were detained. Footage has emerged showing what the Azovstal area looks like now. In occupied Mariupol, a search for munitions was conducted 3 years later. The published footage shows only the ruins left of the plant. Let me remind you that the city's puppet authorities, installed by the Kremlin, have repeatedly announced plans for the future of Azovstal. For example, to create an industrial park there. However, this project was never implemented and the money was stolen.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.
But this is just absurd. There isn't even enough funding for Russian regions. Yet they also went into Ukraine, destroying the cities of a prosperous country. In the Altai Krai, a sample road has officially appeared. It's a patch of asphalt in the middle of a dirt road. A 600-meter patch repair looks absolutely ridiculous.
The traffic police said we need to paint a pedestrian crossing on the dirt road.
But how are we supposed to paint a crossing on sand? There was an official order.
The authority over the road fund lies with the head of the village.
He used the funds allocated to him by the road fund, and based on that, he did what he could. If he hadn't, he would have faced administrative proceedings.
Well, they couldn't do any more. There was only enough money in the local budget for a crossing near the school because every single kopeck in the budget is accounted for. Accounted for or stolen, huh? Putin's appointees. So what do you think about this? Write your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like this video and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything interesting. A great energy superpower, you say, in Dimitrovgrad. Hundreds of employees from the company Orgenergostroy, working on the construction of a nuclear reactor, have gone on strike. People haven't been paid their salaries for several months now.
We really need someone to help sort out this difficult situation and assist us because people currently have absolutely nothing at all. They have loans to pay, debts can quickly pile up, and there are many other problems and challenges as well.
The workers complained not only about unpaid wages, but also about unsanitary conditions and the lack of proper meals at the workplace.
The toilets, as you can imagine, are also overflowing. They're not being emptied, water isn't being delivered, people have to buy it themselves. Lunches have been cancelled, there's no food provided. And yet, despite everything that has happened up to this point, there remains an unexpected twist that challenges what we thought we knew.
Remember how beautiful the idea of a nuclear-powered future Russia sounded? High technology, but in reality it's just filth and debt. You know, Russian television is a relic of the past. Putin's TV channels use the same playbook as they did in the USSR. Let me refresh your memory and recall a 1982 broadcast where the host confidently declared that the Soviet Union was a country with a powerful economy and that sanctions meant nothing to them.
The Soviet Union is a large country with a powerful economy and rich resources, so it will somehow survive all these blockades and sanctions. But for Washington's allies, who are much more dependent on foreign trade, this cowboy-style attack on normal economic relations hits much harder.
About 40 years have passed, but the playbook remains the same. Instead of the USSR, it's now a rising from its knees Russia. And instead of television, it's the same endless stream of propaganda. Do you watch Russian federal channels, or do you not trust the zombie box? Please write your answer in the comments. The SBU caught a so-called DNR veteran who tried to escape to Europe posing as a Ukrainian refugee. SBU counterintelligence detained a member of Russian illegal armed groups who was trying to hide abroad. The native of Donetsk was apprehended right in a hotel in Kovel, in the Volyn region. From there, he was planning to illegally leave for the European Union. The investigation established that back in 2015, he joined the notorious Somali gang group, a militant unit under the command of the eliminated Givi. On the side of the Russian occupiers, he took part in the fighting at Donetsk airport and was wounded. In the fall of 2015, the militant decided to start his life over. He came to Western Ukraine as an internally displaced person, hoping to obtain Ukrainian documents and slip away to Europe. But the security service of Ukraine intercepted him first. During the search, they found passports of the Russian Federation and the so-called DPR, a military ID and insignia of the occupying forces. Now, instead of a European life, his place is a pre-trial detention center with no right to bail. He is suspected of treason and participation in illegal armed groups. He faces up to 15 years in prison with confiscation of property. Well, and Lukashenko chopped some wood. The Potato King keeps pretending to be young, showing everyone that he's still afloat, and that he can even outdo Putin. A wood-chopping championship was held in Belarus. Taking the opportunity, Lukashenko decided to pick up an axe.
Well, let me think about that for just a moment. And as well...
Finally, a bit of humorous news from China. There, a pigeon living near restaurants has gotten so fat from being fed that it can't fly anymore. It now looks like a partridge. I've never seen anything like this before. And just look at it.